JB here. Hope everyone's doing outstanding. May 13th, 2024. Going to be really quick. Pre-market rant. We're about 20 minutes to 9 o'clock. Talk really quick about the markets. What we have this week, we have PPI, CPI, retail sales numbers on Wednesday. We also have still plenty of earnings. I'll have those implied moves out hopefully later today. But take a look at the S&P, up 7 sessions in a row, and we're a stone throws away from more all-time highs. A lot of that will depend on what happens with the PPI data tomorrow and then the CPI data on Wednesday. You probably, if it's hotter than expected, I have to, it's going to be, especially the rally we've had, the dovish spin that Powell was able to put on 2 weeks ago, probably would not bode well. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think it's either going to be in line or cooler than expected. And then the reverse is what's going to happen with the expectations for rate cuts, and that those will probably start coming closer to September or late summer, as opposed to getting scaled back. And yeah, I think we'll be back to 2-3 before the end of the year. So that's kind of my thoughts there. Want to see, I mean, we're at the upper Bollinger Band on the SPY. 522.98 or so is the upper Bollinger Band. 522.08, excuse me. We're at 522.28 here in the pre-market. Probably some chop here today, tomorrow, depending on what the PPI number is tomorrow morning, and then that CPI data. It's, for me, it's tough to get in or be aggressive today and tomorrow ahead of that number. But I do think it's going to be cooler than expected, or at least in line. Take a look at the names over their 50-day moving average for the S&P. There's a 57%, actually, nope, 58% of all stocks on the S&P are now over their 50-day moving average. So that continues to trend in the right direction. And yeah, it's been a very nice couple weeks. Hopefully that trend continues. At some point, we'll have some kind of pull or chop. Hopefully it's not after Wednesday's data. All right, so some of the names I'm trading. So I did some more Fiverr calls on Friday. I really think this is going to come up and test 25 at least. I've talked about the story before in the past. The stock back in the COVID era when the gig economy was booming, which I still think it's booming. Fiverr was a 320. I don't know if it was 350 stock. It's down here in the 20s. Some of that is that, as COVID restrictions were removed, the gig economy became less of a hot sector. The however you want to put it, I still think it's a great story. And some of the move down has been last year or two. People are concerned that AI was going to eat into Fiverr's business. Instead of it actually eating into their business, it's becoming a possible tailwind. So real like Fiverr, their last earnings report last week kind of showed that over 10,000 gigs now wrapped around AI. I mean, people hear the buzzword, they need to implement it on their either their website or use it to create content, things like that. And here's a platform that's going to allow them to find folks who can do that for them. So I think it again the evolution in AI bodes well for Fiverr because people need that. They need the guidance. They don't know all the stuff. And that's where you can go on Fiverr and you need someone to make images for you, a video, update a website, create a chat bot, whatever it is. All right, so that's Fiverr. Hopefully back, I think I would like to see it test the 50-day, the 200-day at 25 in the coming sessions for my 25 calls to pay, and then I'll continue to hold strikes into next month. So that's Fiverr. Trupanion, that huge insider buy. Rowling's the founder, $500,000 worth of stock he bought last week. On the heels of their earnings report, which the Bears construed it as negative. To me, it wasn't negative outside of the sequential decline in the membership of pets, which a lot had to do with third party folks, people that outside of their control. But it's very easy to spin that as a net negative for Trupanion. I've always said that, and if you look at FinTwit and the Bears, they say it's a zero, it's a fraud, it's a scam, it's whatever it is. To me, the only way this goes anywhere near zero would be if every single of their 1 million pets all file claims at the same time. Even that, they're still backstopped with over $200 million in cash. And I think there's more catalyst for upside than there is for downside now. The possible removal of some of the leverage needed for them as an insurance company of cash that they need to hold because they're getting treated as a human insurance company in regards to its leverage. Pets are less expensive when it comes to claims, things like that. But rants for other days. My calls expire this week, so would love to see it similar to Fiverr. The 200-day moving average is in striking distance at 27.18. I think once it gets through that into the 30s like it did, it started, at the end of February. Real like Trupanion, hopefully get an opportunity to lock the maze in, and then I might look to get some June strikes. Dell. So Dell has their technology event in Vegas next week. Huge partners. I mean, NVIDIA is a big partner. They have sponsors from Microsoft, NVIDIA, Intel. It's going to be a big deal. After that, they have their earnings on May 30th. You know my thoughts here on Dell. I think Dell's going to trade, and this is the wrong chart here. Actually, do I have the right chart? I guess I do. I think it's going to trade over 140 in the coming days and then possibly 150 plus after earnings. Lucky enough to lock my calls in for some profits on Friday after the stock ran up to almost 135, pulled all the way back. At some point, I don't know if it's gonna be today, probably after the CPI data on Wednesday. I'll look to add some more strikes here on Dell. Turns, excuse me. They had their earnings this morning, similar to some of these other biotech names. It's not about their earnings, it's about their updates. Really nothing earth shattering that they announced. Their cash position, still large cash position, going to take them through 2026. Still have my positions in turns, not going to add anything more on that. GameStop. So Roaring Kitty is back. That was the big news overnight and last evening. Finally, he tweeted after a, I don't know, 2-3 year hiatus from Twitter. Was it two? GameStop is up 40% this morning for no other reason. So I don't know if the memes are back. If this is, if you're in a stock that has a high short interest, is this going to be the start of some other squeeze in some other names? I don't know. But pretty interesting stuff. Not a name I'll trade. I was looking on Friday, and I think Seb NYC was posting about it. And you start looking at the option premiums on some of the calls, and it was in the $30 strikes were expensive. Just on a risk reward basis, unless you knew that he was going to tweet and this was GameStop was going to run 40%, which I didn't think so. So uh, probably pass on that, but always interesting to watch. So that's one other story. Then we do have earnings this week. Like I said, a lot of it's in the retail space. There's also Baidu. You have SE, uh, SE Limited, right? Is it? I always call it unlimited, whatever. SE reports. They report tomorrow morning. Baidu reports on Thursday. I really like Baidu, especially if it's over 110, but it's been such a stubborn stock. It seems every time it wants to break out, sellers come in, whether it's just based on the China market selling off or what have you. So the probably for me, the way to play Baidu would be to add some strikes and play for premium build before their earnings Thursday. This way I can lock some in, cover costs, and ride free. I don't know if I'm going to get that chance, but I'll continue to watch. SC reports tomorrow before the open. That's a little tougher, obviously, if there's only one day to try and play premium build before the open tomorrow. And I think they'll report overnight because it's Southeast Asian company, so their earnings will come out 2-3 in the morning, similar to what happens with Wix and other these companies. But uh, would love to trade that one too, but risk reward, not being able to get some premium build into earnings. I think it trades over 70. I think it's gonna be a strong report, but I'll probably pass on that. I think that's about it. I was trying to think of some of the other things I was going to talk about. I did my little rant on ENVX. Not going to get too much into it. I posted my rant. I tweeted that I was in some small put positions, and then people just went nuts on me, sending me messages, emails, uh, tagging me on Twitter. Some guy was posting pictures of axes. I try to ignore some of this. I don't even block people anymore. Hey, you want to say something? That's fine. That's your position. That's not my what I do. But they came out this morning with a press release saying they're going to begin customer sampling of batteries, and this is something that they've been doing for months. So it's not news that should be press released, in my opinion. Um, if they did, they should do details. How many batteries are being sampled? Where are you sending them? When are they being shipped? How many have been shipped? What is there's none of that. It's just regurgitation of everything they've pretty much said, which is all generic stuff, which maybe I'm wrong on the name. I hope so. If people are along the stock, I hope it does well for you. I just have the June puts. Um, but it just all this stuff reeks of red red flags, right? So then I probably have spent too much time on it, but then there's a competitor who does the same batteries that they take away graphite. They're all on lithium and Amprius, right? I guess it's called, and they're more tailored towards drones and aviation things like that. But it's the same technology. I mean, hey, I'm not an expert, so I don't want to say same technology, but they had a press release on Thursday, and they said they're going to integrate their safe cells into next generation U.S. Army wearable battery pack, which is a similar press release that Enavox had in the summer, and they said they received a purchase order. And then the CEO came on and didn't ask me anything last week and said they're still sending batteries to them. I don't, he said that's a program. I don't know, but to me it looks like Amprius won the the order, and yeah, ENVX is still trying to say that they're going to get into the US Army. I don't know. So just another notch or whatever you want to call it of list of all these red flags that just keep coming up. I posted on FinTwit yesterday. They cite themselves as being CES Consumer Electronics Show award-winning honorees, right? And they put the little logo on the bottom of their press release. They have it on their website. They have it on um, their governance shareholder letter, things like that. That they are an honoree of the CES 2021. They have it on 2022, and then you look and it's like they get 3,000. And last year, this current year, but 2023 they had 3,000 applicants for this CES Breakthrough Technology program, and I think like 50 people were honored, and then 552 others were called honorees. So pretty much you have a 1 in 5, 1 in 6 chance of being an honoree. And then they press release it like this is great news for a $1.5 billion company. Hey, I can go on and on. I don't want to do rants. I'm trying not to talk bad about that company. People are asking me, are you calling it a fraud? I'm like, I'm not calling it a fraud. It looks like there's great people on the board of directors, running the team, people with great experience, leadership in other companies. That's all fine. I'm just, you can have all that. What matters is the product and how you're going to scale. Not only that, you're going to get the orders, to customize the battery for the product. There's so many moving parts. Rants for other days. Thanks for listening. It's about 8:52 here. We have 38 minutes to the open. Let's have a great day. Rock and roll.